All right. My name is Claire Jantz. I'm the director of the Center for Land Use and Sustainability at Shippensburg University, and I am going to be demonstrating the use of the Upper Delaware decision support tool that our team developed in collaboration with the National Park Service. So when you first open up the tool, you won't be asked for a login because this is a publicly accessible tool, but you will be confronted with a data distribution liability statement. This is standard for applications hosted by the National Park Service, and just note some of the drawbacks related to digital geographic data, which is that they may change over time and often rely on the accuracy and quality of the original data sources. And that's certainly the case in this tool. So you'll need to click agree to be able to enter the tool. And the first thing that you'll see is just kind of an overview map of the Upper Delaware National Scenic River. You can see the outlines of the townships. You can also see the segment designations. Over here on the right-hand side, you will see all of the layers that are available. You'll notice that a few of them are grayed out, and for those, we'll need to zoom in a little bit more closely to take a look at them. But if we want to kind of just navigate over here on the right-hand panel a little bit, if you click the drop-down arrow for most of these layers, you'll see a legend. So for the Upper Delaware segment descriptions here, you can see the pink is the recreational section, the orange is the scenic section. We also have gathered all of the most recent zoning maps for the townships along the Upper Delaware. So if we want to take a look at, for example, Shahola Township down here, we can see the zoning map. And if you do the drop down, again, you'll see the legend. These zoning data come from the townships, and the Park Service will be reaching out at least once a year to look to see if there are updates to the zoning maps of the township. So this is a tool that has kept us current as possible. To turn layers off and on, you just check the box next to them. And if we continue to zoom in, you'll start to see some of the layers that were not visible before, that were grayed out, are now showing up. So I'm just going to temporarily turn off the segment designation so that we can see some of these other layers. For example, we have FEMA flood zone hazards, where you can see the floodway, the 100-year floodplain, which is the 1% annual flood hazard, and the 500-year floodplain, which is the 0.2% annual chance flood hazard. And with any of these, you can click on them and you'll get a pop-up window that tells you exactly what you're looking at. In this case, again, we're looking at the flood zone of the 500-year flood area. But there's also other things that are, in this spot, other layers. So you can click here to see the next feature, which is the Highland Town Municipality, and then the Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreational River. So that's how you can sort of sort through the information that you might want to be querying. Also down here at the scale, you can look at national wetlands inventory data. And again, you can just click the drop down to see the legend. And if you want to click on a particular polygon, you can get additional information about it. We have soils at the scale, mostly focused on value for farmland. And then we also have a pretty detailed vegetation map. This comes from the National Park Service. And again, you can click on any one of these polygons and get additional information about what exactly the forest type is that you're looking at. A few other layers down here at the bottom are what we call raster layers. This first one is a slope layer. And in this case, the legend isn't available as a dropdown, but if you go back here up to the top, you'll see this icon here, which is your legend icon. And if you switch to that icon, that allows you to see the legend for some of these raster layers. We're looking here at a 10-meter resolution slope layer, and the pinks and the red, the darker pinks are showing slopes that are 15 to 25% slopes or 25 and above slopes. So that helps you to identify areas of steeper slope. And going back here, we also have land cover and land use at a couple of different scales. This is a 30-meter resolution. And again, clicking over to the Legend tab, you can see what we're looking at here. And finally, a 1-meter land cover layer, which you can see the legend here. This 1-meter layer isn't as detailed as the 30-meter layer, but obviously it's a higher resolution. So a few other things that you can see when you're zoomed in is you can actually see the parcel boundaries of land ownership parcels all throughout the townships. But again, those are only visible if you're zoomed in pretty close. Okay, a couple other things I want to show you on the layer list. If you are looking for more information about one of these layers, you can click on the 3 dots here next to the layer name and go to the description, and that will bring up additional metadata about these particular layers. Occasionally, like in this, you'll be faced with a data agreement again, but again, additional information can be found there. You'll notice that there's a number of other tools up here. So this information icon gives you the information about the Upper Delaware Scenic and Recreational River, as well as a little bit more information and background about the tool. This icon here allows you to change your base map, but you can shift to having the imagery base map. You can also put in one of these base maps of the layers that are also available as a layer list, the street map and the topographic map. So that can help you get a different view of the base map. This allows you to add bookmarks, and you can also see, and this bookmark means to bookmark a particular place that you are interested in returning to. There are bookmarks already kind of put in place for the different townships, so that's a quick and easy way to get to a particular township of interest. We have a ruler tool up here, which allows you to make measurements in a number of different ways. So, for example, you can measure area if you want to draw a polygon. And in this case, it's 104 acres. You can measure point-to-point distance along a route. And you can also gather latitude, longitude for particular points of interest. So again, some useful tools there, and you can switch the units. In this case, we're looking at degrees. You can change that to degrees, minutes, and seconds. And with distance and area, you can also change units there as well. We've already talked about our Legend tool and our Layers tool. If you have an ArcGIS Online account, either a personal account or an account through your organization, you can also add in a variety of different data sets that are freely available from ArcGIS Online. But again, if you try to add one of these, it will prompt you to log in with your organization's or your personal ArcGIS Online account. So this allows you to add additional layers if you want to do that. And you can add additional layers, again, directly through ArcGIS Online, where they have hundreds or thousands of layers available. You can add it with a web address, or you can upload particular files, geographic files, and add those to the map as well. Okay, so now that we have covered sort of the orientation to the data sets available, as well as some of the functions of these tools in the upper right, let's actually dive into the what's called the screening tool, which is kind of the basis for this decision support tool. So with the screening tool, if you open that up, what this allows you to do is to identify a specific property or an area or a group of properties, or a simple location, and then summarize the information for that location. If you want to identify your area of interest here, you can put a point in, you can draw a line or draw a polygon or select by rectangle. So let's just do something really simple. We will put in a point right here. And then we can create a report, but the report will summarize data only for layers that are clicked on. So if we want to identify or report up what segment designation it's in, if we want to capture the zoning information, if we want to capture flood hazards, national wetland inventories, presence or absence of protected lands, our soils data, vegetation, watersheds, and so forth. These layers, these raster layers at the bottom, these three are not able to be incorporated into the overlay, but all other layers can be incorporated into the overlay. So for this point, if I click the report button, it will kind of give us an overview here of what layers are found. Where there's a red exclamation mark, it says that it's not able to analyze, but because it's turned off or not visible, or in this case, it's not really relevant because that's not in the area, geographic area that we're interested in. If we are okay with this, you can hit the print button, and this won't automatically send anything to your printer. It just opens up a new window here and generates a report for you that you can then print up as a hard copy or a PDF. The first thing that comes up is a summary, which shows you all of the layers that are part of this. It will automatically generate an AOI, area of interest map. And then it will also give you kind of more details about each of the elements that are coincident with this point. You can see all the area fields in this case are in A because it's a point, so there's not an area associated with it. If we close this, we can back up and we can start over. We can also generate reports based on drawing a line. So if we draw a line and double click to complete, it'll zoom us automatically in there. And if we generate a report and print it, it'll take a couple minutes to generate the map, but you can also start to see some of the summary information. For example, this line goes through 16 different soil polygons, 4 different vegetation polygons, and so forth. And then you can scroll down to see the details. And finally, we can draw a polygon. We can generate a report. And in this case, right up here at the top, it's giving us the area in square feet, which maybe isn't ideal. We can change that. But in the case of polygons and parcels, which you can also select, it will give you the area associated with the amount of overlap with these other features. So this whole AOI is 2,120,767 square feet. And that entire thing is located within Delaware Township. And only 47,000 square feet located within National Wetlands Inventory. So you can sort of, again, scroll down and sort of break down how the overlaps are occurring. And if you want to change the area, which I think we might want to do in some cases, you can change it to acres or square miles or whatever. Then press the print button and it will regenerate that report in acres instead of in square feet. Okay, so you can designate your AOI by drawing. You can upload a shapefile if you're an advanced user. You can also enter in coordinates. So let's just enter in a couple of coordinates that I collected earlier. And it will automatically take you right to those coordinates. And then you can create a report, just like we did before. You can also, in the case of points, you can create a buffer around that point. So you can see that it's drawn a buffer around a quarter-mile area within that point. And then I can generate a report that would take into account all of the layers within that quarter-mile buffer of the point. So those are 3 ways to identify areas on the map. The last thing I want to show you is that you can select by rectangle. And if you select by rectangle, you can actually select individual land parcels. So in this case, I've just selected a land parcel, or you can, select multiple land parcels and generate a report, again, to summarize information about these particular land parcels. And we can also use the search tool up here at the top to find specific places or addresses. So if I want to find the parcel associated with 211 Bridge Street in Narrowsburg, New York, this is the Upper Delaware Council. So it's going to take me right to that parcel, and then I can click the select by rectangle and select that individual specific parcel. I can click the report button and then print up that report. And again, it will automatically generate a map showing that location and all of the features that are associated with that location. So it's in the Upper Delaware Scenic River corridor. It is in the recreational part of the corridor in Tustin Town. It is in a federally designated protected lands, the Upper Delaware Scenic River. You can see the soils here, the vegetation, and then also the fact that this is in the Peggy Run Delaware River watershed. And again, all of these elements that are included in the report are included as long as you have them check marked here at the side. So I believe that wraps up our overview of the Upper Delaware Decision Support Tool. We hope you find it useful, and please reach out if you have any questions.